Welcome, friends, to the Performance Mindset Show. I am your host, Amy Calandrino, commercial real estate advisor, investor, entrepreneur, and author. Each week, I talk with inspiring leaders and entrepreneurs about habits, decisions, and strategies that fuel growth and lasting success. If you're ready to think bigger, build smarter, and strengthen your performance mindset, you're in the right place. So this week, I have with me Carson Baird, who is an associate with LQ Commercial Real Estate in Fort Myers, where he represents clients in retail, industrial, and office and land transactions across Southwest Florida and the broader Southeast. Before commercial real estate, Carson built a background in B2B technology sales and consulting, working with startup CEOs on scaling strategies of foundation that gives him a consultative, data-driven edge in CRE. In only a few years, he's handled tenant and buyer representation, project leasing, dispositions, and national site selection work for brands such as Gerber Collision. As a CCIM designee, whoop, whoop, Carson's known for bringing strategy, creativity, and authenticity to every deal, and for his engaging social media presence that's helped him build a national network of clients and colleagues. Welcome to the show.
Well, I don't know how to live up to that intro, but thank you for having me. And
I always redo everybody's intros.
Yeah, you could have just gone with, this is Carson. He's got a mustache and twins, and you've probably seen him on LinkedIn. So I appreciate the additional context you threw in there.
Yeah. And you are in Fort Myers, but you're wearing a jacket.
Yeah.
I think this is going to air probably in December, but this is November 12th, just to book the date. Yeah. What's going on here in Florida?
So the best way to explain it, if you're a native Floridian, is this was the first time of the year that you smelled off the dust burning off your heater in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Relatable? Yeah. So we're having quite the cold front come through. And I think yesterday morning and today we were 45 degrees coming out the door. Feels like 30s. And Florida doesn't do well with cold weather, but it's a really great identifier for if you're a local or if you are a snowbird. If you're a winter migrant from the Midwest, as so many of my neighbors are here in Southwest Florida, they'll be out in shorts and a t-shirt still. And we'll be in goose feather down parkas. So the full timers, you'll be able to pick them out of a lineup.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're more of a native Floridian or you've been here a while, you'll be able to tell right away. I was talking to my mother-in-law this morning. I love 40s in the morning and 60s during the day.
I'm over the moon about it. Don't get me wrong, but you can tell who's acclimated and who's like the iguana falling out of a tree today.
It's a scary situation for those iguanas.
Yeah.
So I'm not even lying. So for someone who's not in commercial real estate, how would you describe what you do?
Sure. So I am somebody that didn't initially operate in commercial real estate. So my entrance into it was, like many others coming in, not knowing exactly what my role would be. But as an industrial specialist, probably 95% of my business today would be related to industrial real estate. That could be industrial or land for development. My role is to be an expert in my given market that allows my clients, whether that be landlord or tenant, buyer or seller, investor, to make the most informed decision on a real estate related objective. So as somebody that's, I would say, again, 95% of his business is in Southwest Florida. It's my role to know my market better than anybody else, know exactly how many properties there are, what the market activity and sentiment is, be able to provide direct information and comparable data so that my decision makers are fully equipped to choose the right path.
Yeah, you got to know your numbers. Yeah. We both have a friend on social media that just rattles them off.
Small guy nobody's really heard of out of New York.
No big deal. But yeah, you really do. And whether it's population or people coming in and all those things, it's important. like what though brought you into commercial real estate? So because you were in a different role before then, like how did you find out about commercial real estate and then get into doing commercial real estate?
Yeah, so I think for me, I was definitely on a different trajectory in the first quarter of my career. In my early mid 20s, I was doing tech sales, B2B for a major public company out of Southwest Florida, inside sales. So wasn't as, physically client facing, but that taught me a lot of great sales fundamentals and kind of getting it out of my head that, doing a professional sales role is used cars. It's not. It's being an advisor,
Mhm.
being a trusted expert. So started that direction, but it had an unfortunate situation at a job a little bit later on where got laid off. Didn't know why at the time, and figured out years and years later it wasn't due to performance. It was more of an accounting issue. Um, and just kind of being cut from a role that no longer existed after that. But that opened my mind to explore some opportunities that otherwise I probably wouldn't be looking at. And one of them was going back and talking to my dad about working with him. And for some quick background, I was born into an entrepreneurial family in the auto body space in Atlanta. So my dad was the body man. My mom was the secretary. And from like the second day on this earth, I was on my mom's desk in the body shop. So, when I tell people I've got Bondo in my blood, I mean, yeah, I was truly born into that. So my parents had started with a single location, scaled up to 6, 7 locations around the Atlanta MSA, and in 2001 had sold to a major public auto body company. So dad retired early, went kind of crazy, and when I was in high school, he got unretired and started doing some real estate investing and development for the same group that acquired him, because he said, I don't want to get back into operating auto body, but I really like the real estate stuff. So
Yeah.
um, said, I love my dad. We get along great. And always said if we could work together, we would. And me getting laid off gave me that window to say, why not now? And we jumped in together. I was doing site selection, entitlement work for some of these sites that we would find them: Florida, Georgia, Alabama. I got a real estate license. I hung it with a residential guy that I played soccer with that offered, zero value or mentorship in terms of doing the job effectively. And on my own, effectively figured out 1,000 ways to not do deals. So I had a lot of education via School of Hard Knocks early on in my commercial real estate career. That was 2019, 2020, going into 21. COVID threw another wrench into things where
Oh
everything got too
God, yes.
expensive and all of our pipeline was decimated. And in early 22, I told my dad, I said, I love you and I hope we can do more deals together moving forward, but I need you to be a client instead of the client. And that's what led me to go find a brokerage, a real, true commercial brokerage, and get a great
Yep.
mentor. And 3.5 years later, here we are.
That's awesome. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting, a conversation. You're like, I want you to be a client,
Yeah.
not the client. And so
He was
yeah,
completely
like,
understanding, to be fair. He
yeah.
saw that this wasn't something that I was going to be able to, support, my wife and future kids with, the way that
Mhm.
things were going. So it was time for a pivot there. And, again, challenges can breed opportunity. So that's what we did. And I'm glad today that things worked out the way that they did.
Well, I just find that I kind of did things backwards, like myself, where I started like my own brokerage, never worked for another brokerage, and now I'm in a big brokerage. And I think there is so much to say that I feel like I'm in like my second like stage of my career,
Yeah.
like, and just the collaboration and the energy and being with other people. Yes, I'm like a CCIM and I have all these people like I can call and all that, but there's just something different in the energy of
Oh,
being
yeah.
like in an office with just a ton of other people.
Yeah,
It's
I imagine
incredible.
you're going through a kind of reinvention of Amy in this industry. You have, and you're right. I don't know many people that would go from creating their own brokerage from day one and then going into, one of the largest commercial brokerages on the planet. And then, it, I'm not the one running the interview here, but I do want to
Yeah.
ask, like, for
Well,
you,
let's talk about it. That's
are
why
you
I
seeing
like this to be more
anything
of an interview. Yeah, I mean,
since
I like
you,
it to be a conversation.
yeah,
Yeah.
since you made the move? I know this is still relatively green, but are you seeing anything where you go, oh, I really should have implemented that into my business when I was running my own shop? Like, are there any kind of efficiencies that you've noticed that either you would replicate or that you could never have replicated based on scale?
It was just I couldn't replicate it based on
Yeah.
scale. Like the best way I would say it is like I feel like I have a magic wand now that I
Yeah.
never had. And it's like I need research. Whoa, my
Yeah.
research
We
is
got, we got
sensing
some work
me.
for
And
that.
it's like
Yeah.
I need this presentation to look really super beautiful. And I had great teammates. Don't get me wrong. For the size that I was, I had some very talented people on the team, but there's just it's just like next level. So then I'm like, make this presentation look beautiful. And it's like, which of these 7 brand standard presentations would you like? And then now I have this like potential 90,000 square foot, like lease up opportunity, like development that just came to me. And if I had pitched this 2, 3 months ago, there's no way they would have hired me. And now I can be like, well, and they're thinking about doing some apartments. I'm like, okay, well, Cushman can do
Yeah.
the
There's
property
somebody in the
management for the
office that can do
apartments and can
anything you
manage
want them to do. Right.
anything, everything.
And you think because of the scale and the capabilities of being at a brokerage that has all of the resources needed, that helps you position yourself for some larger listings, say the 100,000 square foot development and lease up opportunity. That's better position. Whereas before, little local brokerage, maybe you don't have the infrastructure to take something like that on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I
Whether
could
that's
have.
real or not, I'm sure you would have ran with that and killed the
Huge.
assignment before. But from a
It's a huge,
perception,
from a huge. I'll be honest with you too. Like it's having your own boutique brokerage. You don't have the economies of scale.
yeah,
So you're paying like rack rate for each license, and you
yeah,
compete with the other brokerages. And by the time you have every single thing that you need, and then managing all those things and managing the people, I tried a few different iterations, and I feel like I was as lean as I possibly could be now, but it still required a lot of energy. And it was really like incredible. Like when I let go and I knew that I wasn't going to keep my brokerage anymore in July, it was just like something magical like happened. And I kind of like let go of it. It was like dropping, all this like baggage of my brokerage. And it's just like, I just want to serve my clients. Like that's really what I do. The only reason I would have kept my brokerage at that point would just be like to say that I had a brokerage because I had zero desire to scale my brokerage, because
yeah,
if I was to scale my brokerage again, it would have kept me from my clients. So I think that's really what it really got down to. And so now I have more time. I'm still an entrepreneur. I have my own
yeah,
company that owns my podcast, owns my book. I have my family has like a foundation that will be doing more within the community now. And, I have so many things, but I just kind of took the opportunity to take my own advice that if I was going to stay in this if I was going to play small and stay in this like small limbo space, then I really wasn't going to have the resources I need to go big in the clients that I wanted to serve. So I had to kind of make this choice of
sure.
like what do I want to do with my life, and who do I want to be when I grow up. And what's cool too is I think joining a larger organization is I have more opportunities potentially for like leadership later on.
Yeah,
Is like in maybe I do brokerage for 10, 15 years, and then I want to then pivot to then giving back because I don't want to, I want to do less deals or something like
right.
that. I don't know.
More
So I just
mentorship.
feel like it really opens things up. And of every brokerage that I like interviewed, they were the one that really like understood me,
Yeah,
which I don't think large brokerages really like were as open to people having these big, huge personal brands as they do now.
yeah,
It's a cool renaissance that's
yeah.
going on.
I really thought the decision just boiled down to which one matched your signature red glasses best, but that's good to know
I
too.
know, and I switched my glasses a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I still wear them. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
the same tone of red, so you had to switch it up a bit. But no, that completely makes sense. And you're right. I mean, you and I have been part of the CREI community
Yep.
online and in person at these events, and I've heard stories from other brokers that are at these larger national firms that might not have yet accepted that individuals have their own brand that go and serve a different function than the corporate flag that they fly under. And sometimes there would be, conflicts of interest that would come up and they would have to either scale back or change posts or, that's a cloud over your head. If you're somebody that's trying to establish a personal brand, thinking about that constantly is a challenge and might prevent you from speaking up on socials. So I think it's good that we're seeing some of these brokerages become more accepting that there are individuals working underneath their larger umbrella that need to still be able to carry their individual flag. Because
And
it,
be
it holds weight. People want
multifaceted.
to do deals with people they like, and people like Amy. They want to do
Yep.
deals with Amy, not necessarily with that Cushman rep in that market. It's you. So
Yeah.
glad to hear that there's a mutual alignment there.
Yeah, I think I'm not changing just so I went to this other brokerage. I think what I am having happen now is like I still have the same focus, but also my clients have grown.
Yeah.
Like I always joke with people is like when you first start a small business is you eventually have to upgrade from your lemonade stand group of vendors and you elevate into these larger, as you start to have like 30, 50, 100 head count, you're elevating things. Well, that's where my clients have been going.
Yeah.
But then I didn't really want to continue that with my brokerage. And so many of my clients are, several locations in and then still growing. And so it's pretty cool to now that I can just like focus on that and then not have the distraction
Yeah,
of
your deliverables
of
have
brokerage.
grown with them now, so that's good.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Yeah. So, but I know it's like reversed. I know I talked to another woman the other day and she's like, that's just like the complete opposite. One thing I would say, and then one last thing, and we'll talk more about you, is like, I don't think people realize how much you have at these at a bigger or even regional brokerage like yours until like then you got to like pay for every single one of those things.
Yeah,
It's like and
yeah.
then you're like,
Those line items add up quickly.
yeah, so it's cool. But well, speaking of your brokerage, LandQuest, you have a really strong presence across Florida. But let's talk a little bit more about like Fort Myers. What do you think makes the Southwest Florida market so unique?
So just to keep Courtney happy, we're LQ Commercial. A few years ago, we
Oh,
rebranded from LandQuest, but we were
I did.
we were
I said it.
LandQuest for the better part of
I wrote
20
land.
years,
I put
and
LandQuest.
we
Yeah.
shortened it
LQ.
up, and we needed to because we are actually predominantly retail brokerage. And when you hear
Yep.
LandQuest, that's probably not the first thing that comes to mind. So
Yes.
LQ.
LQ commercial. I wrote it LQ commercial, and then I said it
but
the old way.
but there's muscle memory there, and I
Yeah.
still years later will tell people if you're not familiar with LQ, you may know us by LandQuest because you did a deal with us
Yep.
12 years ago.
Yep.
That is more common than you'd think. So no harm done. But yeah, so sorry. Going back to what was the original question? I'll dig in there.
Yeah, but what makes Fort Myers, the Southwest market so unique? Because I'm up in Orlando, and
Yep.
I feel like we're kind of our own thing up here. And I always talk about how like Disney has so much to do with our market, and we have some unique things that happen up here. What's unique about your area? Because I'm
Yeah,
always
I've got
curious
a great
to hear.
perspective coming in as an outsider. So, Jan 1 of 2015, after college, I moved down for the B2B tech sales role in Fort Myers. And I thought, oh, it's the beach. I've always been, warm blooded Floridian at heart, even though I grew up in Atlanta. I came down here and I was very surprised at the average age when I got down here a little over 10 years ago. It is, and then learned, what the snowbird lifestyle was all about. So, the way I describe Florida, and we're probably reaching a national audience here. So if you don't know
Yeah.
Florida, you're probably not thinking where all of these cities are. But Fort Myers and Naples, Southwest Florida, is a large Midwest pipeline for seasonal migrants that want to live in Florida for 6 months in a day, and then when the weather turns and goes back up north, they'll return to Pennsylvania, Ohio, Toronto. You'll see Wisconsin, a lot of Midwest license plates in the market. And I mean 30% of cars on the road are not from Florida at that point. So that was a big element of our economy, very tourism driven. Fort Myers Beach is iconic. Naples is iconic for ultra high net worth individuals, and has only continued to scale post COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But as we left the Great Recession, I think our economy was pretty single faceted. But since then, we've become a lot more well rounded in terms of having basic jobs. A number of corporate headquarters are down here: Arthrex, Herc Rentals, Hertz Rent a Car. Gartner had a major operation here, or has, and quite a few others. So there's been a much better balance of where the opportunity is coming from, and then our economy has continued to compound year after year after year, and was greatly accelerated with COVID. So if you ever looked on the top 10 housing markets in the USA anytime post COVID to today, you are hearing about places like Punta Gorda and Cape Coral and Port Charlotte and Fort Myers and Naples, because we were showing up as like 5 of the top 10 housing markets in the country. It was absurd. That's definitely balanced lately, because we've now seen the articles going the other way of like, oh, where are the homes prices the most decreased? Because there's a balancing out, which
Right.
is healthy. It's not like our economy's hurting at all. It's just
Right.
we were way out over our skis there for a bit. But we're, firmly over 1 million people within Lee and Collier County now. I think technically we would be declared a secondary market, which has allowed a lot of institutional investors to take a more serious look at our market and where they're placing, publicly funded capital, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I think in 2024 we had broken the industrial sales record. There was a deal that was done actually with a colleague of mine, Adam Palmer. $92.5 million. That was broken about a month later for $100 million, and then was shattered at like $160 million before the end of the year. So something changed in the water in terms of high watermark for institutional investing, and that's been big market dynamic change here. And then also on the development side, we're seeing major national developers scale up their projects. We've got Butters doing 2 million square feet of industrial, for example. And that would have sounded obscene 5 years ago. So a lot of good signs for our economy. Still quite healthy. Think things are finally balancing out after Hurricane Ian kind of rocked us. We were a direct hit, and we had years and years of backlog for insurance work, roofing, pool cages, tons of outdoor storage demand for collecting debris and things like that. A lot of that has left the market, but yet we still find ourselves in a very healthy place. I'll speak specifically to industrial. Real estate's still strong, or retail real estate's still strong. Probably still in a landlord-favored market there. Office has stayed relatively healthy compared to some of the other MSAs. I know Tampa and Miami are doing very, very well there, but we had a smaller office market, and it didn't have the pain that a lot of the other ones did. So doing well there. The only thing that we may be overextended on right now is multifamily, but I think that will absorb quickly in the next 2 years, and people will continue to build. So
I think everybody got the memo that there was more multifamily needed.
Yeah. Well, we also lost, I think we lost over 5,000 doors after Hurricane Ian of mobile home
wow.
parks that were they were wiped clean and turned into parking lots. It was really, it's really hard to see, because hundreds of people lived in these facilities and they were just deleted in a single day. So, and you couldn't move back into them, and you can't rebuild without bringing it up to modern codes. So a lot of these older homes had to be torn down as well. It's a boost to the economy, but not in the way that you would like it to be. So, that's Fort Myers in a nutshell.
Well, that's incredible, though. Like in just 10 years, do you remember what the population was in Lee County when you came here about a decade ago?
I don't, but I would say, minimum 2% annual growth, probably getting up to 4%, 5% in some years, especially post-COVID. I mean, any snowbird, a lot of them just decided, well, I don't want to go back up to colder weather. And Florida was the most, free state in the country when it came to COVID regulations. So people just said, well, I'm pretty happy down here. I'm just going to stay. So a lot of those residents became permanent.
Oh yeah, we had a big,
Yeah.
big migration after COVID
Yeah.
to Orlando in different areas. It was interesting. My family moved down from Vermont in 1989, and the Orlando MSA was like 900,000 or something
Yeah.
like that. And of course, we're double, triple that
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
It's ginormous. So, um, what is so what's interesting is we met through social media,
Yeah.
through commercial CREI, and then also being online. You really have been really focused on LinkedIn. What's really been effective for you there?
I got in trouble for being focused on LinkedIn at the latest CREI summit. I remember
Oh
we
yeah,
were
yeah,
sitting down, and I showed up to the speakers meeting late, and everybody was going around kind of saying one thing about themselves, and for some reason I spouted off, yeah, I'm Carson Baird, and I'm only on LinkedIn, and I saw a pair of eyes across the room just beaming through my skull, and Fly Jamerson was not okay with that. So by the end of that week, I had a Twitter account. But no, I focused on LinkedIn exclusively to start because that was a platform I was quite familiar with when I did B2B
yeah.
tech sales. So I was an inside sales guy. I was trying to reach people in Seattle, and I had no physical way to connect with them. And I was reaching out mostly to CMOs, CEOs, CIOs of these companies, very C-level executives, and most everyone had an account or a presence of some sort on LinkedIn. So my initial exposure to LinkedIn started very early in my career, but it was mostly outbound in a take kind of relationship. I wanted something from them, and I would try and get them to take a call with me so that I could sell them something. And it was very selfish driven. By the time that I came back into commercial real estate and had a play to be made on LinkedIn, there was still a little bit of that, but it was much more specific. Like I used it to connect with a car wash company that I saw had a void in the market, and we connected with them and generated opportunities through outbound, which is good. And I can still have great success, very high conversion ratios on outbound messaging on LinkedIn because I'm reaching out for a very specific purpose with somebody that I know will benefit from my message.
Mm-hmm.
But my main thesis on being active on LinkedIn was that when I came into commercial real estate, I looked around my market and there were a lot of really mature relationships with a lot of the movers and shakers in our industry.
Mm-hmm.
The serial landowners or the developers or, guys that are doing a lot of deals annually that already have their brokers that they're riding with. And those relationships are 10, 20 plus years old. Their kids went to school together. They've been playing golf together for years. And I didn't see a very clear path to break into that, in a quick way. You stay present in the market over time and you grow with the people that decide to work with you. But I wanted to be the guy that was seen first. And I knew I wasn't just going to do that by showing up at, local meetings and this and that. A lot of that was already pretty mature. But LinkedIn was kind of a wild west. And I noticed nobody in my market was really using social media. So
Yeah.
I became active on social media to become a brand in Southwest Florida and reach buyers that would see me first before they would ever see anybody that may have a lot better resume than I do.
Right.
That was my selfish benefit. But the way that I achieved that was to put out information with no expectation of return. So I would start to write thought leadership pieces, start to share a little bit more of my personality because people work with people at the end of the day. And the aha moment was having a guy reach out and say, hey, look, I saw you on LinkedIn, like your content. I see you do land down there. Guy out of Wisconsin that seemed to have an okay resume and wanted to explore doing some multifamily projects. So wasn't even something that I specifically cover, but my mentor is, I would say the guy in our market for multifamily land, and got them all in the room together. And fast forward 7-8 months, we had a done deal for over $3 million that's sourced from LinkedIn. And I was like, okay, all right, I'm in. Let's go. And we've been posting consistently ever since. That was definitely a light bulb moment for me, and I'm glad I had Fly recently to smack me on the back of the head and say you could do that, but on other platforms too, podcasts, X. Those are all different mediums to reach a different audience. You never know where your next deal is going to come from. but you
Yeah.
need to be there, because if you're not there, 100% likely they're not going to call you. So
Yeah.
that's my kind of soiree into LinkedIn as a broker.
And then like, without giving away like your secret sauce or anything, because it's interesting. I'm going through like an evolution of my social media, like personally, and like what my like strategy is. I kind of feel like I got away from like a framework. So I've been having way too much fun with like Instagram reels and things like that. And I'm not taking, it was interesting. I had a client the other day that's known me for a really long time, and he's like, Amy, can I give you some feedback? And I'm like, sure. Like, he's like, you're posting way too much like personal shit. Like, you got to like share more about what you're doing. Like, we're sitting here right now eating chicken and working on a pro forma for like my next development that you're gonna like lease up. And you just did this whole like tenanting plan for me and did these other things. Like, you're not talking about like the things that like you're doing and all that kind of
You
stuff.
just
So
made the post all about the chicken
yeah.
instead of your capabilities as a broker and the
Yeah,
unique
I went and ate some
insights
really good chicken
into
today,
the things
but
that you do.
instead,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, like, I actually, for the first, it's like for a long time, I started to think to myself again, it's like, I need to deliver value. So, like, I took my kids to Disney this weekend. So then I thought to myself, I'm like, every single time I go to Disney, I start to think about like all my clients that do business with Disney. So then I made it a post about there's 2,500 local small businesses in Orlando that do business with Disney, and like how that's involved with the local
Yeah.
economy from all these different trades. But I also got to share, like, I have a really cute family and we do fun stuff
Yeah.
together. And so now, like, I'm just being more strategic and thoughtful. And I think kind of Ken Ashley talks about like the four corners of his strategy. And so I'm kind of in this limbo now where I have to like come up, and maybe I have to get someone like Fly or Mo to make me like accountable and
The
focused.
experts are there and are great at what they
Yeah,
do. They take what we try and do as amateurs, but they do it for
yeah.
a living. So they're obviously fantastic resources that you and I are lucky enough to have in our corner, and
Oh yeah.
call on for advice whenever we're feeling like things aren't going the way that they are. But I think, to put it into a single sentence, consistent intentional activity
Hmm.
is the formula for any level of success on
Yeah.
social media. And sometimes you'll do one part, sometimes you'll do the other, but it really takes both to scale. So um, for me, I've fallen into the same thing where I'm having a bit too much fun posting, and I'm making memes that are very much a representation of my smart ass nature or whatever.
Yeah.
But is somebody going to call me and be like, I really want to rep you? I want you to rep me on this 8-figure deal because you posted a good meme about Tiger Woods and John Daly. Like, no, I don't know that really takes moves the needle for a lot of people, but being able to help people understand exactly how many properties there are in the industrial market in Southwest Florida, Lee, Collier, Charlotte County, and what is moving the needle in terms of changing vacancy rates, absorption rates. I think those balancing yourself with the posts that can really add value to the audience that you're trying to connect with and do deals with is something that'll be different for everyone, but you have to do both because they want to do deals with people at the end of the day, but they also want to know that person's capable of doing the job.
Yeah. It was interesting. Yeah. And when I had lunch with him, I was like, I was going over the void analysis, like we prepared. And he's like, well, what the hell is a void analysis? And so then I explained to him what a void analysis is. And then I'm like, well, maybe I should be making a post about like how I did a void analysis and what a
Yeah.
void analysis is. And like, and people will be like, wow, that's pretty cool. And so like, I am committing. And so I'm putting this out into the universe on the podcast that I'm committing to sharing more about what I do so everybody knows, not just the clients I already work with, but the ones that are maybe looking at Orlando, that I have some really cool tricks up my sleeve. And I do know some things and do things other than working out and cooking really good food and going golfing with my friends and stuff. Yeah.
That's it. And that's the balance, because they do like the fact that you work out and you're a lot of fun and you're clearly a personality in of itself, but you also know your shit.
Yeah. 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 I do know my shit. I do. But I need to make sure I'm saying that. So
Yeah.
it is interesting. It's funny that you're kind of going through the same thing. It's like, I think what it is too is you do something for like a long time and then you're like, I watch all these reels. And I'm like, oh, that'd be kind of fun to make some cool stuff like that. But
Yeah.
then it took me off of it a little bit. So we talked about that. So, we both have young kids. And so, and commercial real estate's
What makes
not
you say that?
necessarily 9 to 5. Yeah, I know, right? How do you make space for both family and business? I know I have people that message me all the time on like LinkedIn and otherwise kind of looking for some like tips and strategies and like how do I balance the both?
Coffee.
Yeah,
Coffee.
coffee.
It's coffee. It's the more sleep you can replace with caffeine, the more functional you are. Um, no, I think it's something that, my babies. So, if you're not watching in video, I have boy girl twins that are evident in the video right now, but they're just over 18 months now and fully in the throes of, toddlerhood. And I have never, had so much fun or been more satisfied with my life than with where they are right now.
Mhm.
And our family is absolutely loving every moment of it, even though it is incredibly chaotic. Um, Still working every day to find that balance. And, my wife and I both work. We've both had to, cover for one another in order to, accommodate the family demands and still make sure that we're doing the thing that we want to do more than anything else in the world, which is be great parents. So,
Right.
that requires some sacrifices in terms of when you're doing your work. And there's been a lot more after hours or early hours time in front of your computer, catching up on items that, might be the things that are, able to be done online or without, making phone calls. Those all need to get done during business hours. But I would say it's still a learning process every single day. And I welcome anybody that can provide good feedback on that. It's not something that is been fully established in my life. There's still a lot of fluidity on how we're doing that.
I find for me, I have to go with my energy and my kids' energy. And I'm really super grateful. I'm a morning person. So when they are going to school at 7:30 in the morning, they're in kindergarten and pre-K now.
Mhm.
I go downtown. I'm at my desk at like 8 o'clock in the
Yeah.
morning. Now, could I go back home and take my sweet time, like getting myself ready and la 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 la, and come strolling in at 9:30, 10? I'd rather just go in and get the worm and be there. And then what I find for myself is like I don't really take lunches. I'll do coffees with people,
Yeah.
but I just don't have time for lunches. And I try to wrap up at like 2:30
Yeah.
and book it out of downtown. And then I go get my workout in and then recharge my battery.
Yeah.
And then I'm able to like be super hands-on and run with the kids. And then I find that sometimes I might have to check my phone for another like 30 minutes during like the dinner hour.
Yeah.
And then I do my third shift
Yeah.
at like
Exactly.
8:30, 9 o'clock.
Kids are
Make sure
down 7:30. Laptops come back out.
Yep.
I'm a little bit more of a night owl than my wife, and she's up a little bit earlier than me, so we cover each other's windows.
Like,
And no, I was on my computer at 11 p.m. It's not like that every night, but things needed to be done, and you've got to do that in order to buy back your time doing the things that are most important to you, which is being present with my kids at this age. So it's intensive, but without a doubt, the most fulfilling, worth it kind of decision that I could make. So no regrets on any of it.
Yeah, I find that I would much rather instead of keeping them at daycare super late or that kind of thing. For me personally, I'd much rather just go and just blow through my work from 8 to like 2, just solid. It's amazing what you can do. And if you already have your list from the night before, you can be so productive. Like you just do it. Just do it. So yeah, get it done. What was I going to? Oh, All right. So we're kind of getting to the point of the show where I do some rapid fire questions. And they're kind of fun. And then I have a new question. If you had listened to my podcast, I have a new favorite question I ask everybody, but I did not tell you what that was. So we'll get an authentic answer. So, is there anything you want to chat about before we switch over to the rapid fire question that we didn't get to talk about?
No, I think we covered a lot of good bases, and if we do have further follow up, you know where to find me. We'll either take it offline or on to LinkedIn and X, or you bring me back on here. Always happy to chat with a homie.
Whoop, whoop. Fellow CCIM Floridian.
Yeah.
So, all right. What is your favorite Fort Myers spot for coffee or client meetings?
Urban Buzz popped up on right outside of a college campus, Florida Gulf Coast, near us, and it's very strong, intense coffee. But there's also a place right next door to it called Sour and Dough that I think has taken the cake due to environment and ambiance in there. It's the best bakery in town, in my opinion, and they've got like authentic, I don't know how many $1,000 espresso machines. So Urban Buzz was fun for a bit, but it is very much dedicated to the college scene, and I'd rather just have like a good latte and chill out at the place next door.
Sour and Dough.
Yep. Sour and Dough.
What's your favorite go-to pastry snack?
It has to just be a plain croissant, because everything that they have there pastries-wise is incredibly delicious and will give you diabetes if you have more than one. So, not that they're too sweet. They're delicious. It's just like you're eating 1,000-calorie breakfast that's just sugar fruit pastry. And I don't know. You got a long day ahead of you with the work-life balance right now.
I'm super sugar sensitive. Yeah, I would fly off the handle if I have too much sugar, which is why when we started the podcast, I'm still drinking my pre-workout, because if I had actually downed all of my pre-workout, I would be like during our podcast today, which we don't want to do, right? So, what is a recent win that you're most proud of, personally or professionally?
Oh, I mean, becoming a dad was a huge personal victory. It's not as recent anymore, but it feels like it was yesterday. My wife and I had a extensive fertility journey, and finally getting fully on my feet in commercial real estate, as well as her career, continuing to scale, was what enabled us to explore IVF finally. And I'll tell people, and I'm very open to talk about the process, but we got what we tell people was a buy one, get one special, because, twins aren't genetic. It doesn't run in the family, but in our case, this is what it yielded. And we're happy every day that it shook out the way that it did. So,
way to go.
Yeah. And quotas met. So we don't have to worry about anything else there. Got one of each right out of the gate. But that would be on the personal side. Professional victory. I've been nurturing a client, with a very open mind, just to make sure that they're feeling stable and secure, and probably 2-year relationship with an industrial development site that I made sure that they had all their market intel for, gave them an idea of highest and best use and everything like that over the years. And we had sat down to talk about an unrelated project, and they had said that they were planning on, going with broker X in the market because they've got, signs in the area and everything like that. And I'm not somebody that is typically confrontational, and I'm sitting down at lunch just kind of taken aback by it in the moment. But lunch ended a few minutes after that, and I got in my car, and I was so livid with myself for not speaking up that I immediately called her back and fought for myself and said, look, the other broker that you're engaging with is fantastic. I won't, there's no, wrong decision here, but I want to kind of advocate for myself, because we've been talking about this project for 2 years, and this is the payoff for me, is getting the opportunity to do this deal with you. Like, I hope that this relationship does mean enough for you to give me that opportunity. And because I did that, I did get to the table. I did win that listing. So if you asked me to do that 2 years ago, I might have rolled over a little bit easier. But because I'm convicted in what I do and my ability to deliver, I stood up, spoke up for myself, and have something to show for it now. So that would be my latest professional victory. It made me feel a little better.
That's great. Yeah, I think just not taking no like for an answer and pushing through is it's just so important in this field.
Yeah,
So
it is. And I don't think she meant anything personally by it. I think that there was just this kind of recency bias in her head. And if I didn't stand up and, not accept her answer, then, she might not have been as satisfied with the outcome, just like I wouldn't have been. So, I did it because I believe in myself and I believe in, what I'm going to help do for her. So,
yeah. Good job. Now, how long have you had that list? Has this closed yet, or
this is recent events? So you'll see. Okay. I'll send you the flyer soon.
Then listing. Okay, awesome. Who are a few people in commercial real estate who are inspiring you and motivating you right now? We already kind of mentioned a few, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a few good names out there that I think are doing some really incredible stuff. A lot of friends that we've made through the CREI network. Like obviously, there's some easy answers to follow, like a Bob Knackel. Zach Molzer's, I think his content is incredible, not just on LinkedIn or X. Like it's just what he's doing is really cool, and he's got the perfect marketing support to put it out there in the universe. Because I think the whole universe needs to see that there's a kid in his early to mid 20s that's doing a historical redevelopment project in downtown Kansas City. Like that is cool as hell. And he's got a personality to match, the aura is there with him. So I think it's been a lot of fun being a fan of his, seeing that at such a young age, you can still do so much. And then there's definitely a few brokers out there in the world that, I've grown fond of. So John Armstead, who I'm sure you've connected with out of South Florida. He's been a great story to watch. He makes me feel bad every day when I see his cold call numbers post on LinkedIn. Tyler Bendy's another guy that comes to mind. Doing deals in all 50 states. Talk about knowing your niche. He does one thing incredibly well and is rewarded handsomely for it. So, there's a lot of people out there, but those are just a few that immediately come to mind. And then I'll throw out Topher as well. My fellow mustache brothers doing some really cool stuff with AI and commercial brokerage specifically. And I think that'll be a key disruptor in our industry. So seeing where he goes with it and what he's able to accomplish, I think will be really important lesson for anybody that wants to roll that out in their own business.
I think just AI is so phenomenal. And I just, what I use it the most is ideating. It's like just sitting down and you don't have someone to pull in for like a brainstorming session and you're just like bouncing and bouncing.
There are 1,000 or more use cases and a lot of them have yet to be discovered. I've been able to create Excel macros and vibe code on it where I'd be able to input a list of just 1,000 LLCs that I've seen around my market and get individual names, and you add another layer to that and it'll be able to scrape and find contact info. Like you can build out a database in a day. It used to take months. And that's just one of 1,000 things you could do with it. You could build a development plan and a Gantt chart. You could do all sorts of stuff. You just have to have the creative mind to think about what I want out of it and then put it in there and see where the conversation goes. It's amazing what it can do.
Read a survey for you.
Yeah.
Oh, the thing is so cool. Yeah. Okay. So my favorite question. All right. If someone gave you $1 million and said you can't invest in real estate, what would you do with it?
Today, what would I do with it? Good question. I would probably dump a significant amount into my kids' college fund. If that's an investment, does that count? And then I guess what I invest in from there will go just like total index fund market, like a VOO or a SPY. I don't know. Something secure, and I'll know the kids are taken care of moving forward. Beyond that, if I were to invest in anything, I think business is interesting.
You don't have to invest in it, but you can't invest in real estate, but you can do whatever you want with it.
I'd probably buy a bunch of older Toyotas. I'm such a big Toyota Lexus fan. I've driven over a dozen in my lifetime, and all of which were sourced on Craigslist. And every one I sold, I made more money than I bought it for. So big fan of the brand, and would love me an old 4Runner, Land Cruiser, or 10. So,
or 10 of them.
Yeah.
But that means you're going to have to buy more real estate to store them all.
Oh, yeah. No, then I'll buy an industrial outdoor storage lot to park them all.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, this was really cool. I can't wait to see you again, hopefully at CCIM or something else.
There will be something soon that we will definitely connect on in person. If not, we'll still be, perpetually connecting online. And CREI Summit next year in Savannah. What do you and Eddie call the bathtub time?
Tub Talk.
Tub Talk.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Savannah's really cool. I'm staying on as program co-chair with Fly. So I don't know if that's really been announced publicly or not, but a lot of people said it was the best CREI ever last year.
Many people are saying it. I had a lot of fun. I really did. And I'm very excited about Savannah.
I got married and engaged in Savannah.
Nice.
Savannah, I know so many people. I'm working on some shit that is so good for Savannah behind the scenes. So Ken and I and Sarah and Fly will have to make some reconnaissance missions to Savannah. So I'm going to be spending some time in Savannah before CREI, but we will be putting some really cool things together. If people have not committed for Savannah, we brought the prices way, way down, thanks in large part to incredible sponsor support. But the venue is insane, and it is just such a cool city, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, super excited about it.
And we're going to rethink some different things. I think we had too many sessions starting at the same time that everybody kind of felt.
Hard to pick. There was a lot of great things, and a lot of times I wanted to be in two rooms at once.
Yeah. So we're gonna streamline things, which I think will also make things easier because I do commercial real estate for a living. That's my job, not wrangling up a gazillion speakers. So I will be very happy for that. So, nice. But if people want to reach out to you, obviously you're on LinkedIn.
Yep.
What are some other preferred mechanisms for people finding you?
Yep. LinkedIn is the meat and potatoes, but I am now on Twitter as well. Trying to remember my handle as I say that. I think it's Carson CRE, which would be my LinkedIn handle also. Carson _CRE. But yeah, search Carson Baird. Hopefully I'm high enough in the Google.
You're the guy with the mustache.
Rankings. Yeah. Carson Mustache Twins should do it. But yeah, would love to connect online. I am always an open book, very abundance mindset when it comes to leveraging these social tools in order to best position yourself for success. So don't hesitate to reach out. Always happy to chat.
Awesome. Well, this has been great. I'm so excited that we got together today. And I want to thank my listeners for tuning into another Performance Mindset show. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to follow the show and share it with someone who's ready to grow. You can find more insights, resources, and details about my book From Perfect to Real at amycalandrino.com. Until next time, keep investing in yourself, your business, and your mindset. This is Amy Calandrino signing off.